Celtic Ligers, Celtic Ligers, Celtic Ligers, Celtic Ligers, Celtic.
Check. I've started recording. Have you?
So have I. And welcome to Sicko Mode.
Welcome to the freaking podcast.
Enter Sicko Mode, you know?
I don't know what that means.
Well, not every... if you went to my school, you're really in with the young internet crowd.
All I think about is Sicko with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Yeah, that's almost it. But think
Okay.
about 15 years newer.
Think about Sicko, a little film by Michael Moore. Have you heard about it much? Well, that's Sicko Mode.
I was trying to lead you... I was trying to lead me into something there.
Oh, sorry. Let's
One of my-
rewind. Oh, whoa.
Oh, whoa. Rewind.
Okay.
That used to be such a good move, but
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it was definitely really cool.
I remember in an episode of Futurama, they were like, rewind the tape, Fatsy, and he went, ooh, yeah, bloop, 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 bloop. I was like, wow. I used to think about that
Yeah.
all the time, and it was like, they were making
I would
fun
do
of that guy,
forever.
but I thought that was like hilarious, you know?
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
like, this
I'm
is
gonna
incredible.
do that every time someone does anything.
Yeah.
You know? But
Okay,
a guy from
timeout.
yeah,
Yeah.
Time
You're supposed
out.
to freeze.
yeah,
Just like Zach
rewind.
Morris. Rewind. Okay, so let's rewind to that part where I
The
did
time.
timeout and I interrupted you. So I'm sorry about that. Rewind. Okay, go.
Whoa.
Wah wah wee wah. Those are great.
Yeah.
No, sorry. Go on. I'm curious now.
So we opened up the Phoenix this morning.
Okay.
And I go to the young blood section.
What does that mean?
It's like the young up and comer, person in Ireland.
Okay.
They do one every 2 weeks or every edition. And the young blood of the fortnight or whatever was a guy I was in school with.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
you're saying. Yeah.
He was famous, quote unquote. This was not a complimentary article, but he was famous for starting up the Irish TikTok house.
Oh yeah. That's I think I know what this is, which is a kind of weird reality show where he rented a house and then they filmed themselves and a bunch of TikTok influencers in there and then.
Well, see, it's not even a reality show. So it's like all these people were independently reasonably popular on TikTok.
Yeah.
And then he's like, why don't we all live he's like, why don't we me being 30 and you being 18 and we can all live in this house in Clonskee together and you can make videos and I'll be the manager.
Yeah.
And yes, so they got kicked out of the house anyway. And
Why?
they're doing I don't know. The one rumor I heard. So this bit actually happened. It's just no one knows this is why he got kicked out. They made a dancing video. Like TikTok is mostly dancing videos. And
I just really do not get TikTok. But yeah, go on, sorry.
there were randomly two people in whatever way they positioned the camera. There were two people in the background having sex.
Very good.
Who didn't realize they were on camera.
Uh-huh.
So I think that could be one of, and who knows how well they were, but they got kicked out of the house. This was after a month, maybe 2 months, and then I think it's all just gone belly up from there because they moved house, and then he released a video being and then I was looking him up online. And he had loads of apology videos, and then he was like, I'm not trying to bullshit anyone.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry for he kept apologizing, and then it turned out he had each, video had 1,000 likes.
Did I ever? Yeah.
But he was acting like, everybody's just been breathing down my neck,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they are demanding answers about what happened. And it used to be called the Goat House. But then they got
the
sued.
greatest
So
of
they
all
had,
time.
yeah, and then they got sued, so they had to change the name to the Go House.
The greatest of house.
The greatest, And then the last I heard of him, he put out a video, and he was like, "This lockdown has really taught me that I don't need things, like material possessions." And believe you me, I have plenty of material possessions. I have a new BMW. I have an espresso maker. I go on holiday 4 to 5 times a year, but I don't desire anything more.
Mm-hmm.
Not a joke. He's not messing here.
Yeah.
He's just supposed to be like, I'm so spiritual now. All I need is like my 30 grand car.
Yeah. It's kind of like. No, I don't know. Just thinking about the apology video, it just reminded me there was a guy that I grew up with who I don't know. I didn't really like, but now I look back and I'm kind of like, did I kind of project a lot onto him? Do you know? Like he was an asshole, but like ultimately it was like I kind of thought he was an asshole for a lot longer than you probably should hold on to those thoughts anyway. But he really wound me up because he tried to start like a music career, and he was like, he would do things like he would be on the streets of Galway during race week, and he would have found like a kid, no connection to him, just a little kid who had like cancer, and then he would put a picture of them on like his box and be like, I'm raising money for this little girl, you know. And he really got like a load of traction off of it. And then Paddy Casey did some sort of night with them and things like this. But anyway, one time I remember he's like, it was on Facebook, and he said, I'm just retweeting this because it's an important message, or I'm resharing this again because it's an important message, and the previous one got like 453 likes, and it was the thing about suicide awareness, and then, but in the middle of the suicide awareness, he was basically trying to say like, suicide is happening and people got mental health problems, and don't kill yourself, but one of the things he wrote in it was like, you don't have to kill yourself just because you're not popular, Yeah. And anyway, everybody underneath was like, it's so true, man, it's so true, thank you for doing this and reposting it. And I just found that funny because it was like, imagine that guy doing an apology video, like, wow, this is my most watched video, so I guess I'll just do another apology video. I was like, you don't have anything to apologize for. It's just like, he's like somebody who's just one of those people who's looking at the data and realizes like, oh, if I apologize.
The low level apology video is such its own genre, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, that was my news.
Speaking of inscrutable things that young people are doing, the GameStop stock thing, do you know?
Oh yeah. Can we ease into that? Can we talk to something else first?
Yeah, sure. Can I tell you about? I listened to Richard Bruton on Owen O'Brien.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Richard O'Brien is a shredded individual. Lives in the Liffey. I knew somebody who swam in the Liffey and they got a collapsed lung out of it.
He didn't. Well, whatever.
What?
He was in Wicklow. He was swimming in Wicklow. I recognised the bit. I was wondering if you thought he did swim in the Liffey, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't say anything.
No, you're right to say. This podcast is all about being true, and it's true to say that he swam in the Liffey.
Yeah, okay, because the Liffey, the Liffey doesn't just exist in Dublin. All right, Liffey is like, it's a state of mind, basically.
Is it what?
It's a state of mind, basically.
And then he was debating Owen O'Brien, noted paramilitary leader.
Yeah, no, apparently, like, something happened on Twitter whereby, like,
Richard Burton was like, entered sicko mode.
He entered combo mode, and he was like, Owen O'Brien is full of it, and then Owen O'Brien responded going like, oh no, you're wrong, and I'll debate you. And then he's like, yeah, name the place, man, name the time. And then Drive Time were like, yeah, let's facilitate this.
The Owen O'Brien made some statement, and then the other fella was like, that's wrong. And then Owen O'Brien was like,
No, it's not.
It's mad how you suddenly care about housing,
Yeah.
despite the fact that you were in Fine Gael for,
Yeah.
20,000 years.
Yeah.
And you're bald.
He's not bald.
And
That's his brother.
He's a brother.
Yeah, John Bruton.
Oh yeah.
I think that's his brother. It's definitely a
Bald
relation.
Bruton. And then so how did it go?
Yeah, it was pretty much as expected. But it was funny how really unprepared he was. Like Richard Bruton, I was quite surprised.
What did he say? What were they debating over?
Well, it was about housing in Dublin, and the two models is social housing, and then the private sector, which is Richard Bruton. And I knew that what I thought he would do is the thing that they're doing at the moment, which is like Sinn Féin don't want this, Sinn Féin not a normal party. Owen O'Brien wrote it down in his constituency. Oscar Traynor wrote and yeah, we got that. Fair enough. But I didn't expect him to be. He literally said something to the effect of, like he was basically making this case for the private market. And was like, what do you want these people to do? Go out of pocket? That's what Sinn Féin would want, Like it was such an odd thing where it was like he was trying to drum up sympathy for private developers, and it's like, and it was
please think of the guy who buys up all the land.
I know,
rakes up the price and then sells it.
So, like, Sarah McInerney at the start goes, look, we don't know anything about stats. We don't know anything about, like, all the numbers that she'll be talking about.
Leave your facts out of it.
No, she said, like, just keep it fucking simple so that people can understand it. And then Owen O'Brien was like he actually did that.
Owen O'Brien was like, no.
No, like, because normally, like, you see the stuff that he posts, and I was like, none of this means a fucking thing to me. But in this...
it'll show you, like, a graph, and it'll just be like, need I say more?
Yeah, exactly.
I think the evidence speaks for itself.
But he, like, this time he literally, like, he literally just went like no numbers, no nothing. He's like, here's what's happening, here's what this means, here's the numbers that he did quote were for the price of a house and then the price of the construction of the house, and how this needs to be investigated because it doesn't make any sense, And then for some reason, Richard Bruton didn't bring up that Owen O'Brien voted against housing in his own constituency or whatever. He only went after Oscar Traynor Road, which was like the most foolish thing you could do because that was the most indefensible one, And then
what one was that?
That was the one where it was like, the way O'Devany Gardens was like, oh, this is a pretty cush deal for them, but there is social housing involved. Whereas the other one was like, fucking, you get nothing and we get everything, And so the council, he pretty much unanimously voted against it, including some members from Fianna Fáil. Okay, so basically he was like, Sinn Féin voted against Oscar Traynor Road, ergo they hate social housing. And then he was like, well, actually Sinn Féin weren't the only ones, like everybody did it, including members of Fianna Fáil. And Richard Bruton was like, and you're just like, did you not plan for that? I thought you'd have something there. He just kind of kept bringing up Sinn Féin, Sinn Féin, Sinn Féin, and it was like, it was this weird thing where it was like they're not the only ones who disagree with your housing policy, Very odd. And then anyway, somebody messaged in, and for some reason they read this out, which I thought was like one of the dumbest things I'd ever heard.
You are gay.
Yeah. That's what they said to Richard Bruton. And he was like, thank you.
Thank you. Gay means happy, so thank you.
So, no, Sarah McInerney goes, we got a text in from Cork, and it says, I refuse to believe, basically saying, like, I refuse to believe that you guys can't bury the hatchet and sit down around a table, okay? Name one thing you like about the other one's housing policies.
Like marriage counselling.
Yeah, it was so stupid. But so then Owen O'Brien was asked, well, do you have one thing that you like about Fine Gael's housing policy? He's like, no. He's like, they've been in power for like 10 years and the thing's gotten worse and worse and worse. There's literally nothing, And then they go to Richard Bruton, and he's like, well, one thing I like is that I know that that Owen will be voting for the Land Development Agency or some bullshit. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
And he says, I know that he'll be voting for that, so I know that, and that's a good thing. And then Owen's like, well, why would I be voting for that? And that's actually not fit for purpose either. But and then Sarah McInerney's trying to stop him, and he's like, yeah, but like whatever, that's for a different day. Like, it was just so funny. It was like,
I like that Owen O'Brien agrees with me about everything.
Yeah. I like that he agrees with me on this thing that he has yet to vote on, and he's like, I don't agree with you, and then it's over, you know.
Yeah. We have to go now.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, no, it was kind of what I expected, but it is like that moment of, you know, the hubris of those people. You know, when they try to do like Sinn Féin, whatever you want to say, a non-normal party. Oh, they went to Bobby Story's funeral. Whatever. It's a tired thing. It's boring. I don't care. But whenever they go, Sinn Féin don't know what they're talking about with housing, it's like, well, that's objectively untrue. Like, that's like, if they didn't have anything else, they at least have like a housing guy who knows his shit. And so when they're like, get on the TV, let's get on the radio, let's have a debate, and then the only thing you have for that is, but you're Sinn Féin. It's like, this is stupid. But I thought that like it would be, you know, I just thought he would do everything that he did except the part where he defended private developers. But that was like the most out of touch thing, where it's like everybody can see what's happening, and that's what O'Brien was kind of relying on. He was like, not relying on, but he knows. He's like, I just have to say, here's how much a house costs. Here's how much a house they're saying how much a house costs, and clearly there's a problem, and that's why we can't build houses, and everybody can understand that because it makes sense. And then Richard Bruton is like, well, Owen's being very unfair because he knows that there's actually more cost to this, like VAT, etc., this, that, and the other. And it was like, it's like trying to get you to feel sympathy for, like, again, like you're saying, like vulture funds and fucking cuckoo funds and everything. It's like, I'm not going to care about those people, but Bruton does, and he thinks that other people do, so he just, you know.
Yeah, well, like, he has to defend it because it's so central to Fine Gael's entire housing policy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, there could be no question that the private, you know, whatever, is the best way to build housing. Yeah. Because if you don't agree to that, by the way, the Pope never would admit that God's not real. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we all know it. He knows it. You know what I know.
He's like, look, we've been here long enough. Hasn't even shown his face. I've been here like fucking, like, how long now? What? 5 years? 6 years? Somewhere around there? Still haven't seen him. Didn't come down to me. Hasn't said anything.
That's it. Not even when I moved in.
And they made me the guy. And I still haven't seen him.
Yeah. Apparently he's dying.
God.
No.
that's you know, if I thought that this was what this podcast was going to just degrade into, that God is dying, I would never have agreed to do this, you know.
No, the Pope.
Yeah. Oh, that's, what do we think of Pope Francis?
I think he's as bad as the rest of them.
Yes, pretty much. Because sometimes
it's amazing how to be a cool Pope, you just have to be like, gay people mightn't go to hell, you know. Everyone's like, that's so sound of you to say, you know.
I was like, when I always think about it, it's like the rules that you have, you know. It's like okay, I say to myself, like, I'm gonna stop using the toilet. I'm gonna shit in the middle of the kitchen floor, okay? And I do that for like a year, and then I'm gonna go, do you know what? I'm not gonna shit in the middle of the kitchen floor anymore. And somebody goes, what do you decided to do that? You know what I mean? I'm not giving you props for doing something that nobody is doing, you know?
No, thank you. It's what Christ would have done, so thank you very much. No. Pope Francis should be crucified. There we go.
See it in his brain. He was like, we have Zoom call now, so I can finally see him face to face. Pope Francis should be crucified, you know, just like searching. I guess that's the one. I guess that's the thing I'm saying.
But it is true. Now that I've realised it, I believe it.
Now that I've said it out loud, it suddenly feels very. Oh yeah, can I? Yeah.
Wouldn't that be sick though? If like you went on holiday, not these days, but you went on holiday to Italy. Mm-hmm. Not that you get there these days.
Because of a certain, you know.
Because of a certain EIN, DEMIC, and it's just like, yeah, the Pope's dying, so they're crucifying him. And then you could just get to see this like old pedo just being crucified in the middle of Italy. It's like, great. I'm glad I came this weekend.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Hail to the pedo in chief. You know?
Yeah, and I'm not
You've heard of the
talking about Joe
The
Biden.
Cheeto in chief. Oh yeah.
Well, he's not a pedo. Well, he did touch
Was
that
a
girl
former.
weird.
The former pedo of the armed forces.
Do you think that
If this is a question about someone being a pedo, the answer is yes. The answer is they are.
Well, I was gonna say, do you think Trump is a pedo? But I mean, yeah,
Yes.
he's probably a pedo. I mean, he was. I just, for some reason, sometimes with him, I'm just like,
It seems too obvious. You know what I mean? It's like, it seems like he should be bad in a more moral way.
yeah, like he's
You know?
kind of like, he's got like, when you see the thing things that Trump does, you're like, aha, yes, that makes sense. That's old-fashioned being a fucking creep and a weirdo. Like, you know, and I guess the other thing is that the women that he tends to go after are like all so similar. And it just feels like he has a type, and you know, his OCD and all this type of stuff, and I just feel like the kid thing wouldn't do it for him. But then I'm
Yeah.
just like, why am I giving him that much credit? You know?
He probably pushes past it. You know, there's
Yeah,
like-
he's like, well, if Jeffrey is doing it, you know?
yeah. He's like getting, you know, medicine for his OCD.
yeah.
So he can be a pedophile, you know. I just want to get through this. So the Pope's a pedo.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to say one other thing, because we were talking about Sinn Féin there, and it's not to do with pedos, okay?
Well, they did defend pedos, just so you know.
Oh, okay. Fine.
Any more questions?
I don't know. I mean, I'd be curious, but then I also just feel like it's going to go down some sort of, I'm going to regret asking, and it's going to go down some sort of rabbit hole where I feel like,
It was a certain brother of a certain leader, you know?
interesting. Oh yeah, no, I had heard about that, and that is, yeah, indefensible.
But you were just about to defend it.
No, I wasn't about to defend it. I just thought it would be like, you know, I don't know, something that would be on like third Twitter reply to something about Mary Lou, and it's like, but what about this? I guess you stand over this, do you? And then it's like something from the 1970s, and then I have to do some reading, and then it's kind of like spurious, and it's coming
No
from
reading necessary, Gareth.
yeah, okay, cool. This is the no reading podcast. I don't read.
Yeah.
I don't want to read. I'm still going through that Charlie Haughey book, and I've started Guards, and I'm making a faster progress in that than I am in the Haughey thing. And it's good to be reading Guards. So anyway, the other it's not really much. I just wanted to talk about Pierce Doherty yelling at Leo Varadkar. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah.
And then he's like, "What planet are you living on?" And then giving out to him about the housing, and then Leo Varadkar's like, "Ad hominem attack. I don't have to respond to that." And then that was the end of that.
Did he say that?
Yeah, no, he said you made it personal, and you know, got annoyed about it. But he was saying like, "Oh, Sinn Féin haven't done anything in housing up north, and so actually yours bad." And then, because you know, he's like, how do you respond to the cuckoo funds or all this? And the what was the
Yeah, what was he been asked to respond to?
you know, the thing with it was an article that was released that said that the average couple couldn't afford the cheapest apartment in Dublin.
Oh, yeah.
And he was saying, this is something that you've created, so how do you respond to that? And his response was, Sinn Féin aren't doing that great up north on housing. And then
his response was like, me? I'm going to say to you.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
And then Pierce Doherty was like, what?
Like, I told you about that guy I met in Centra,
Oh,
and he, I didn't meet him. He came in and he picked up a lot of eggs, and then
Yeah.
he like tripped and he dropped them,
yeah.
and then he started storming out, and then the guy was like, here, you just dropped a lot of eggs. And he went, I dropped the eggs, and then just stormed out.
That's a great like tactic.
But that is what Varadkar
Well,
did,
that man
which is-
who did that was Leo Varadkar, who dropped
Was-
those eggs.
yeah. Could have been. It was out in Castleknock. Could have been Jack Chambers.
Queen Jack Chambers. Apparently,
Did you hear the thing about Jack Chambers? He was like, he came out and he's like, oh, what was he on? He's like, on some defense panel. He's like, that's one of the ministers for defense. You know, I've had a lot of new jobs in my portfolio. And everyone was like, what the hell are you talking about? and then like, Fianna Fáil had to issue a statement and they were like, On the Constitution, it says there has to be a junior minister on this panel.
Yeah.
So he is that junior minister,
Yeah.
but he has no role whatsoever. And they just have to be like, don't listen to him. He's just bigging himself
I just
up.
love that. Do you remember that episode of Peep Show where like Jez is like dancing next to Superhand's bands and they stop the song? I just want to be clear. This man is dressed like the band and he's standing next to the band, but he is not part of the band.
Yeah. Yeah. Why was he doing that again?
Because he was working in a record label and he said that he would get them a deal, but then the deal fell through. But he had kind of made Superhands jump through a bunch of hoops just because he was mad at him for kicking him out of the band, you know. So he's like, you have to wear zoot suits, and then Superhands shows up and then he's like, they want to change the name to Danny Dyer's Chocolate Homunculus.
Classic.
Great show. It's a very good show. No, but I was on a phone call the other day and we started just quoting the episode of The Simpsons where Homer became sanitation commissioner, and I swear to God it went on for about half an hour of just being like, do you remember this bit? It's just like, great show. It's a fantastic show.
Like I just thought I'd turn up and rattle a few cages. Just grab the cage with the Barton in it.
I was thinking we were talking about the Potato Man. Where the hell have you been? And then the one where the other bit I was thinking was where he comes in, he's like, good news everybody, I got into a fight with the garbage men and they've cut off our service. It's like, and they go, Dad, isn't this something that could be solved from a simple apology? Homer Simpson never apologizes, Lisa. I'm sorry, but that's just the way I am.
And I was just like, did you just hear yourself, Homer?
And that's what Lisa was like, and that's why it was the funniest show, because Lisa would be like,
that's why Lisa's the funniest character.
Dad, you just apologized.
Yeah.
Speaking of, actually, did you ever hear Ted Cruz do his impression of Lisa?
No.
Yeah, I'm almost tempted to share the screen and show it, but maybe not.
No, I'll just imagine.
Just imagine it. He went through a I think it was in 2015. BuzzFeed had him on to do, like, for some reason, a bunch of Simpsons impressions.
Yeah, that was so weird.
Yeah,
they were like, "Who's this cool new like weird middle-aged man who's really homophobic
and awful?" Yeah.
misogynist?"
And then Trump said that his dad was the Zodiac killer, and he said, "Mr.
And
Trump, sir, you have..."
was...
Yeah, and his wife was ugly or something, was it?
Yeah, yeah.
And Mr. Trump, sir, you have no respect. And then a year later, he was like, "Actually, I love Trump," you know.
And then he grew a beard.
And now he's doing a class action lawsuit with AOC. Against a Robinhood, an app that was involved in a controversy.
Robinhood.
That I only know slightly something about.
So let me explain this.
Okay.
I didn't think you'd say yeah.
No, I'll explain it then.
No, I'll explain it. There are... We'll tag team it.
Yeah.
There's a website called Reddit. Do we have a subreddit?
No, but I tried to join Ireland. Join it?
You tried to join it.
Whatever. I mean, it was quarantined or something. It's
like... It's an exclusive club. No one knows
what, shut up. I don't know Reddit. I just okay.
I managed to join Facebook.
As soon as I said it, I was
heard
like,
of it?
Fuck. I should never have done this.
The same Facebook. That's the same website that Mark Zuckerberg uses.
Are you friends with Tom? He's on my list.
Yeah. Bebo?
Bebo? That's coming back, apparently. 2021.
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't know what it's going to be. One. Is it like a social media thing, or is it going to be...
What else could it be? Maybe it was just like pornography or something.
Well, they rebranded as something else before.
We're back. And then they tried to be a music.
Yeah.
You know.
It's coming back in February. Oh, no, it's a new social network. Yeah.
We should try to be the first person on it.
I already was on it. And I'm done with it.
So, there's this website called reddit.com.
Mm-hmm. //
or / Wall Street Bets.
Wall Street Bets, thank you.
And they're a group of anonymous posters.
Okay.
And they were looking for things to do.
Alright.
And they found each other. And then they were like investing in stocks and shares, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of them were using this app called Robin Hood, named after the Nottingham
famous bandit from Sherwood Forest
yeah,
who stole from the rich,
gave to the poor,
gave
wore
to the
green
poor,
tights,
wore green tights,
had an
was a
arrow,
fox. Yeah.
was a fox at one point,
That was crazy, man.
married a bear.
Was Russell Crowe, and also who's also a fox, if I do say so
Yeah.
myself.
A sliver fox.
Yeah, he's a sliver of fox if ever I saw
Yeah.
one.
That's just so they were like, oh my god, have you heard of short selling?
Have you seen
Yeah,
that movie, The
take
Big
it,
Short?
take
Have you seen that movie, The Big Short?
Yes.
Did you, like, because they did the thing, it's like, okay, we know that you're not going to understand short selling, so we're going to get Margot Robbie to tell you in a
I'm going
bath.
to do that now. I'll do that now.
No, but I was like, they did
Okay,
it.
now we know you're not going to understand short selling. So imagine kissing a beautiful woman. And then she's like, do you know what short selling is?
You idiot.
like,
you little worm.
And I'm like, no. And then she's like, but if you want to kiss again,
yeah.
you got to go off and learn what short selling
And she's
is.
pressing her heel into your ball sack or vulva,
Yeah, and it
depending.
tears open.
Yeah, not...
And your balls fall on the floor, they roll away, and
Yeah.
then you're infernal. And now you're a eunuch.
Yeah.
And you start up a TikTok account,
Yeah.
and you talk about being quiet and how your wife is asexual.
Or you write articles about how you like powerful women that you hate, you know?
Yeah. You're like, I
Call
want Micheál.
back. Call back.
There's a
Ring, ring.
yeah.
It's calling back.
I want Mary Lou to, you know, rip out my eyes or something.
to fucking tug at my eyelashes, you know?
Yeah. Or put a grenade in my mouth.
Hold a loaded gun to my head and tell me to
pull the
cry.
Yeah. So if that
So
doesn't
that's
get you
short
motivated to learn what short selling is, I don't know what will. But so short selling is, so imagine 3 guys,
Yeah.
right? 3 monkeys, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they all have bananas,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And one guy is, we'll call him Citadel, the monkey. And another monkey is called Melvin. And another monkey is called Reddit.com. It's called Reddit.com/Wall Street Bets.
Okay.
And they don't call the bananas bananas. They call them stocks.
Okay.
Okay. So one of the monkeys takes one of the stocks, right?
Is he given
he-
the stock by...
No, he has it, and then he lends it to the other monkey,
Okay.
Melvin. And Melvin's like, can I borrow this banana,
Just AKA stock.
aka stock, in order to, you lend it to me, just don't ask. And the Citadel's like, okay, don't ask, don't tell. No? Just like the military
Mm-hmm.
in the 90s. It's the 90s in this situation. So then Melvin sells the banana to Robin Hood. And then a while later, Citadel is like, where's my banana?
Mm-hmm.
You hear me? And Melvin's like, well, here it is, because I sold it and then I bought it back at a cheaper price, or a higher price. I remind you to explain this one again, but
It's okay. People have time, you know?
time is limitless.
This
No, here's what it
podcast
really is.
goes on.
We'll do it quickly. Right, imagine 3 dragons, right?
Okay.
Well, and they have gold. No.
Yeah. And the gold
gold.
are stock. So these dragons have
Yeah.
stock, okay?
No, so short selling is there are 3 parties involved.
Mm-hmm.
There's stockholder.
Uh-huh.
There's
Yeah, go
there's
on.
the monkey.
Yeah.
There's the dragon.
Let's just do this. Let's just get through this, all right?
Yeah.
The stockholder.
There's the stockholder. There's the investment company.
Yeah. Really resisting the urge to not call him a dragon. All right?
Yeah. And then there's we'll call them the
Buyer.
buyer. So the stockholder lends
Failing shares, or shares in failing businesses, or depreciating shares.
it to what's his name? To the investor. Do you know what it is? Can you do this?
Yeah, I can try and do it. There was one section I read by Ash Sarkar, which was quite helpful.
So I'll continue until you find that.
Oh yeah, go for it.
So then the stockholder has a load of shares in failing businesses. He lends one to the investment firm, saying, "I'll need this back in a week or whatever," after a certain period of time.
I have it, by the way.
And it has to be, I'm getting the same amount back, basically, of money. It costs a tenner. So then the investment firm sells it to the customer immediately. And then when he owes it back to the stockholder after the week, he buys it back from the customer and returns it to the stockholder. So if the stock is depreciated, he has to pay the customer back less than he sold it to the customer for. And that's the amount he gets to keep.
I think you probably said it, but because
and all bananas, and they're all monkeys and all.
But because I was looking up the article, I missed like a lot of it, and so now I have the article, and it's very short, and I'm going to read it.
Go for it.
I'm not. It's Ash Sarkar does a weekly article called the Cortado, so you can sign up to that at info, or I think we'll go to novaramedia.com and you can subscribe to it. So she goes, all you do is borrow a share in a business you think is in decline from another investor and agree to return it by a certain time. Let's say you borrow when the share is valued at £2. If you sell the share right away for £2 and then wait for its value to fall to £1, it means you can buy it back for the lower price, return it to the original investor and pocket the difference. Okay? So the thing that I was confused about by that is, why would that person give you their shares in the first place? Because aren't they just getting back the same shares now that are actually worth less? And if they're pocketing the difference, then what were you getting out of it exactly? Do you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, could you outsource that? So that means that somebody keeps an eye out for, shares that are in decline and says this would be a good one to, now is a good time to sell. So, and then we'll do this exchange, and then we split the profits between us. But then apparently that's illegal. And then I'm just like, okay, well then what is the point of this? What's that person? I'm still not entirely sure what that person is getting out of it. Somebody said, oh, it's like, it is sort of like a bet, I guess, where this person is taking a bet. It was like, no,
yeah, because the
it.
original stockholder, if the price of the stock goes up by quite a lot,
yeah,
they gain. But I think for the moment, to actually understand the current situation, you just need to know what short selling is.
Yeah, but that's it's like what the other thing that I just didn't, or that was confusing to me, was to basically, well, people were referring to it as betting, as in betting against, and that's what it is, obviously. But I was thinking about it very literally. Like I was saying, in a perfect world, the stock market or something like that would be a barometer of finance in some way, or just be a place where it's like, I've opened it up, this is how my shares are doing, very good, Well,
that's it. Like,
yeah.
in theory, the stock market should be, there are a lot of companies, and depending on the performance of those companies, their stocks are worth different amounts.
Yeah.
But now it's become so abstracted that, like, if you know a company's going to do well,
yeah,
but you also know certain types of investment patterns occur. But also, the other thing is that this is all managed by computers as well. So, like, if you go back to the 90s or 80s, like, there might only be a couple of hundred transactions done a day on the stock market, you know? Now there are, like, millions.
Yeah.
And it's all because it's computers interfacing with computers.
Mm.
And the stockbrokers are sort of just managing or looking at how the algorithms are like spurting out information.
Yeah.
So like it's all beyond human comprehension,
Yeah.
you know? So, but for the whole thing, what we were talking about was that so this group on Wall Street Bets saw that a company called Melvin Capital had shorted, is the term, a lot of stock in GameStop,
Yeah.
right? So
And
they
they're hedge
basically they
funds.
knew that Melvin Capital had, what was it? Oh yeah, had borrowed a load of stock, sold it, and they knew that Melvin Capital would need to buy back that stock in order to return
Can
that
I say
stock.
one thing as well? Sorry, real quick, but like it also, now this is a real stupid observation, but I'm going to say it anyway, which is it reminds me of the bit in Uncut Gems where he gets Kevin Garnett's ring and then immediately pawns it so that he can make a bet on something else. And
That's
then,
exactly what it
yeah,
is.
exactly. So Garnett comes back to claim the ring and he's like, fuck, I sold that ring, but he doesn't say he sold the ring, so blah, blah, blah. But that's like kind of what, so the other thing that kind of completed it for me is like, you presume with Wall Street and these people, it's like, oh, we're investing or we're doing whatever. And it's like, I presume that they were shitheads, but I guess I just didn't see that they were degenerate shitheads where things were just transferring back and forth. It doesn't mean anything and you don't produce anything and everybody sucks who's involved in this whole thing.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
let's get through it because all this will make
Yeah.
more sense.
But yeah,
if
no,
people
that's
know
what,
it
so
is.
that was just, but that is like the stock part of it. But then, yeah, like you're saying, they noticed that Melvin was doing this. And so then they just, go
Yeah,
on.
they noticed that Melvin, we're going to need to buy back
I noticed
a
the
lot of
Melvins were
stock
doing that, you know?
in. They needed to know. They knew this subreddit saw that Melvin Capital were going to need to buy back a lot of GameStop stock.
Mm.
So they were like, let's just buy it all.
Yeah.
And together, they just started buying all this stock, driving up the price, and they did it out of spite.
Yeah.
You know, like some of them were trying to make money, but a lot of them were just trying to fuck with Melvin Capital.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much they drove the stock up by, but basically, at a time when Melvin Capital needed to buy back the stock, they had to pay something like 1.3 billion more
Yeah.
than they had made.
Well, somebody calculated that all the hedge funds together apparently lost like $17 billion.
Yeah, and it's all just due to like one subreddit and like the cascading effect, you know?
Yeah.
Because obviously, once people on Wall Street saw this happening, they started buying up more
That's true.
stock in
Yeah,
GameStop
yeah.
as well.
Yeah, because it's not all those people who are buying that stock, they aren't all just Redditors. It's like other people responding to what Reddit are
Yeah.
doing. Yeah.
But like when you read about the response, it's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
so the Robin Hood, who are owned by Citadel, who lent Melvin Capital a lot of the shares in GameStop. So like, Capital or Citadel own both Melvin and Robin Hood. Or they own like a large
Yeah.
share in each.
I'm just thinking of, Jack Donaghy. He's like the Scheinhard Wig Company, and they own, the,
Ooh.
the microwave oven division, which in turn owns NBC.
But it is like,
yeah, exactly.
it is just like that.
And it's designed that
Yeah.
way intentionally to like fuck people up and make them just like crazy with the banality
But
of
it's
it.
not like it's not done to make people crazy. It's just done because like it's an incredibly complex system, and there are people.
I'm sure it happens over time, but at the same time, it's to their benefit that nobody can understand what's going on. And what happens is they just effortlessly set up some other company or some subsidiary, and they know exactly what to do. And then all of a sudden, it just becomes even murkier and harder for somebody else to figure out what's actually going
But
on.
they don't even always know what they're doing either.
Yeah, that's also true.
So like, the system is just complex because it's all based on like people trying to make short-term bets.
Yeah,
You know, but like these people don't especially think in long term. They think in like, oh, we'll just set a company that can work for the next 6 months, and then that company sets up its own companies to game the system. You know,
yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of companies out there that don't even understand their own structure.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah,
But
But yeah, Robinhood and these shares, they basically just closed the app for trading. Isn't that what I've heard?
They basically made it so that you couldn't buy any more stock in GameStop, and then they sold back a lot of people's own GameStop stock to Melvin in order to like reduce the I don't know, amount of money that they're out. It's just mad because like you have all these people on Reddit making a load of money, and then whoever runs Robinhood were basically like, oh, it's not supposed to work like this.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, okay, we're just going to take back all that stock we sold you.
Yeah. Which is crazy that was actually written into the terms and conditions of the thing as well. Because, you know, like, let's say, you know, I'm listening to a lot of music on Spotify, and then they eventually go, oh, we didn't expect you to listen to that much music, so we're going to just take the app away from you for a few months. You'd be like, what the fuck is this? I bought the app to listen to music. Like, you get Robinhood to buy the fucking stocks. You don't get them. They don't get to decide what happens to those stocks after you've acquired them, or prevent you from buying the stocks full stop as well. Do you know?
Yeah.
You'd
but
think.
Can you imagine like you think you've just made it, and you ring up your stockbroker, or like you go to the app and you're like, time to sell all my Robinhood stock.
Yeah.
And then the app's like, no, we sold those at a lower price. Just to like protect you, apparently.
I mean, I don't know, like, I don't know how much longer this is going to linger. I certainly hope it will a bit, you know, because you have like Ted Cruz and AOC with the class action lawsuit. But it is one of those things where it's like, I really hope that you wonder whether there's going to be like a Golfgate type thing where it's like, you know, that was a big deal, obviously, but that kind of came and went. But it's still on everybody's minds when, like, you know, they interact with politicians now and people like that. That's something that'll always have happened, you know? Do you wonder if somebody will have this now where they're like, oh, it's so crooked that they can't even let me win in the way that they say that it can, you know?
I don't think so. I don't think enough people were involved. And I think as well, like, there's just going to be this narrative that, like, people in Wall Street know what they're doing. And they're the experts. And that these, like, apps that allow normal people to get involved are somehow disrupting the expertise.
Well, they'll try and say that, but I don't think that anybody will believe it, you know?
I'd say people definitely believe that. Because most people most people believe in expertise.
Yeah.
Because in a lot of things, like, things are regulated for a lot of reasons. Like, you go to a doctor because, you know, like, the idea of medical practitioners is regulated because people recognize that, like, not everybody should be able to practice medicine.
Yeah.
I think people want banks to be regulated and all this sort of stuff. I don't know, I think people could quite easily make... I don't agree with it, but, like, I can imagine someone saying, like, you know, the stock market's very important.
Yeah.
It's important and it's well run.
Yeah.
And you need to leave that up to the investors.
I feel like it's too much of a contradiction. I feel like people are going to be like, no, fuck this. This doesn't make any sense.
What would that mean? Like, what would they do?
Yeah, I know. I don't know what it would mean. I'm just saying, like, it might make them more susceptible to other ideas down the line. As in, like, well, this... another thing that's not working and is rigged against us, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think if all you can imagine, like, you know that thing, Mark Fisher, you read that book, Capital Realism, and he said, like, for most people it's easier to imagine the end of the world than it is to imagine the end of capitalism.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And then the idea being that, like, if you say to someone, this is bad for capitalism, you know? Like, the capitalism is based on the markets need to be able to run smoothly. And if you just have random people getting involved, it causes disruption. We can't control everything nicely the way we normally do.
Yeah.
People will just go like, yeah, that makes sense to me. Like, I want the
I don't
economy
even know anymore because I'm like, and I know I'm going like too broad with like the Irish analogies or comparisons, but it's like with the 8th referendum, with Sinn Féin, with all this type of stuff, it's like they keep telling us this stuff, and for the longest time I was getting anxious because I was like, everybody's just believing it, But you're seeing is like, I don't think people are believing it. I think we just feel like they are because our only input at the moment is like RT and the Irish Times and all these things, and they're telling us that actually this is what people are thinking. Do you know? Like, one of the things that I thought was interesting, it came up today, was that Micheál Martin was basically saying, oh, you know, we can't be pursuing a zero COVID strategy just because of some social media outrage, do you know? And I was thinking back to, like a child, the one book that I'm reading, you know, or, you know, the Haughey thing, where it's like, the government was like, if there was public outrage or backlash, then they would respond to it, and they would be like, that was what they were trying to avoid, okay? Whereas now we're in a moment where there's like unprecedented like backlash. People aren't really able to do all that much because they're inside, and everybody's just dismissing it as in like, that's just on social media. It's like, but man, that's like where most people are at the moment. And it's like, I'm not trying to say that Twitter is the world, but it is now a part of the world, you know? And the stuff that happens online, it's like, sometimes like, you know, they're kind of trying to be like, don't believe your lying eyes, you know. I know what you just saw here was a super contradiction, and we literally like sold the shares to benefit these people, and you know, like, you know, you saw this, but ultimately like we're the responsible adults in the room. It's like, I don't know if people are actually going to buy that, or if they will buy that anymore. But it is America. That's the other thing, you know. So
yeah, I guess maybe people won't buy it, but will they have an alternative?
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing.
Program. Maybe they'll just go like, I guess this is just one of the great flaws in the world, you know, completely unavoidable.
I just think that it might make them more open to hopefully left-wing ideas, but unfortunately probably right-wing, you know, bullshit, but like far right kind of stuff, you know.
I think there's just got to be a bit of a meme. You know what I mean? It's just got to be like, remember that time Reddit did that crazy thing?
Yeah.
It'll be like, they'll just write it off like the way, you know, 4chan used to do mad stuff.
Right, yeah.
Like at Taylor Swift that performed in Alaska or something.
Yeah.
It'll just be like, remember when that Reddit group did that mad thing?
Yeah.
Glad we made that illegal, you know?
Yeah, I guess that's it. I see these things and I really want them to be something, and then you're just like, you know, in reality it's like it blows up for a little bit and then they temper it back down and then we go back to normal. But I mean, even things like, you know, Occupy or the London riots or like Black Lives Matter and stuff like that, it's like, it seems like they were just like, you know, what's the word I'm looking for, like some sort of thing in sizzle in the pan or something like that, but they come back and they, you know, they're like a snowball. They gather more people each time. Not that I don't know what like Wall Street Bets is going to do, but like you just think about like the corruption of Wall Street. This is the first time I think where everybody sat down and was like, okay, let's try and figure out how the stock market works to figure out what actually went wrong here. And then when you see it, it's like the emperor has no clothes on. It's like me looking at this thing going like, they're all just fucking degenerate gamblers. They're not just people who were like, oh, I went to Harvard and I understand this complicated thing and I'm able to make that work for me and I have friends and, you know, elites and stuff like that. They are all that, of course, as well. But the thing that they're doing is so easy that literally anybody can do it. But as soon as anybody does do it, then they just crack down and make it, oh no, you can't be in the club, you know?
That's it. Like, the stuff they're doing is complicated, but it's just complicated forms of gambling, you know? It's like the way when you go to the horses, there's some guy there who knows all the ways you can bet, and all the information about all the horses.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're still betting. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like Photoshop or something as well. You crack that open, you see all the tools, and it's like you'll only ever use 3 of these. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't need to know how everything works in this. So it's like you got these stocks. This is what this means. This, and then like over time, you'll probably pick up the other stuff. But there are a lot of people who can just intuit, you know, a lot of the things that go into it.
Nah, I'd say there's a lot of learning to do. You know what I mean?
There's that much learning.
But think about how long it took us to figure out what a short.
Yeah, but that's like, my mind isn't wired that way. There's people who like, you know, like you just described there, somebody who goes to the bookies or whatever. It's like probably like have a way shorter time explaining that to them. But if I was to try and explain like Photoshop to them, they'd be fucking scratching their heads, you know. Like I think that there's like people who, You wouldn't.
I'm not saying it's like unknowable knowledge or like it's
Yeah.
mad expertise. I'm just saying like the people have spent their lives like learning like tricks. Is that,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it's like a monkey with a banana. No.
Yeah. It's like a monkey with a dragon. Now bear with me,
Yeah.
alright? So this has a dragon. The dragon is depreciating in value. He's got all of his gold. He keeps eating it, alright? And you sell that on, and then it's turning into a Biden speech. And you sell it on. You sell on the gold. And it's like, come on. My Biden impression is no good. And I'm very determined to make it work, you know?
I think you do it every episode, you know?
Yeah, and it's weak as hell. And I think the more I hear Felix Biederman's impression, the more kind of like lacking in confidence I get. Sometimes it's like I'm like that kid who's just... You said that one of the funny ones was when the teacher said a joke that made everybody laugh, and then the kid turned around and was like, "Did you hear what they said?" And they just repeated the teacher's joke back to you.
Yeah.
That's what it's like with me and Felix Biederman, you know?
Well, that's great for our listeners to hear, that they can just go straight to the source.
Yeah, but they won't hear about Irish politics, like Leo Varadkar appearing on Claire Byrne earlier in the week. Which is probably like like we talk about Leo all the time, and he has a very special place in our fucking head. But
yeah, lives there rent free.
no, and he's paying rent like everybody else, you know, paying
Is
too
he?
much rent, you know, because it's a housing crisis.
Yeah, the rent is too damn high.
The rent is too damn high, party. And you know, anybody who's come here from or Wall Street Bets, they're probably holding their sides together now.
They're probably like, I didn't realize these guys are going into sicko mode, you know?
I didn't realize awkward penguin meme where you go like, oh, the awkward moment where you come to rag on these know nothing podcast, and then they mention the fucking scumbag Steve, and then I'm like, okay, where's my Nerf gun? I gotta go eat some steak and blowjob with my wife,
Yeah,
who's definitely real.
yeah. My least favorite meme was the one that was like, did you remember there was like you just referenced the awkward penguin?
Yeah.
And then there was one that was like awkward.
Yeah.
I can't remember how it was like
know
awkward
what you
penguin
mean.
that turned out to be good. It would be like, I accidentally said to my crush, "Do you want to suck my dick?" You know, and that would be the awkward penguin
Yeah.
bit. And then the positive penguin would be like, "Are you talking to me or my 3 friends?" You know, because we all want it. We were all hoping you'd ask. And you know, and then underneath would just be written "true story." You know?
Yeah.
True, sexually true story.
Yeah, sexually true story. That's STS. Yeah, sexually true. I'm trying to think of an I. It's an image. Sexually true image. Anyhow, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Leo.
I think you were saying sexually true image.
Yeah. Well, Leo is a sexually true image. No, Leo is you know.
Alright, tarnished now.
I'm just gonna say, like, he has changed the discourse of Irish politics in a profound way, and anybody, we say Taoiseach, but like it still feels like, and everybody still calls him like Taoiseach, and it still feels very much like Leo's government, you know.
Not to me. I'm a Micheál Martin man.
I'm a Micheál.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm moving to Cork.
Yep.
Me and his family.
What else did Micheál Martin do recently?
I'm
Oh yeah,
bored.
he's going to see Joe Biden, which is very funny.
I look pained all the time. That man looks like he has fibromyalgia. You know what I mean?
I genuinely do believe, like, a doctor was like, you only have however many years left to live, and so he's like, well, I'm going to become Taoiseach.
I'm going to make none of them count, you know?
No, like, to become Taoiseach, it's like, cool. And then it's like, St. Patrick's Day is coming up. There's still a pandemic on. It's like, I am going to see Joe Biden, and I'm going to shake his hand, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like, he needs it to happen. But anyway, Leo appeared at the start of the week on Claire Byrne, which is his favourite place to drop completely nonsensical statements, to have absolutely no opposition to them. And he said...
And he calls her fair fern. And he's like, you're fair?
And you're also like a fern.
You're also comforting.
And then
like a fern.
you're like a fern. And then normally a person would go, why am I a fern? But Claire's like, oh yeah, of course.
I guess I am like
I guess
a
I
fern.
am like a fern, yeah.
I was just thinking that.
interesting. You actually said what I said. And so then what was I going to say? Yeah, you know the way he does his thing that kind of annoys me, where he's kind of half laughing when he says everything. It's actually kind of like Kamala Harris, where it's like okay, you're actually you're asking me that, really? Do you know?
Yeah.
So
Who invited Fern? You know?
yeah. So like he'll be like, well, the thing is, like, if we did start mandatory quarantine, it'd have to be in place for a year, and then he goes on, he's like, and it would be in a hotel, and that would basically be like a detention center, and because there'd be guards around it, and
yeah, but we were saying that's stupid of it.
Yeah, well, it's like, so you have him. He says it have to be for a year. So then I would say, why does it have to be for a year? And also, if it was for a year, then why would that matter? Do you know? It's not like the implication by it for a year means, they arrive in the country and then they're going to be in the fucking Marriott for a year. Do you know? It's like, no, they're in there for 2
living
weeks.
It up for a year, another time.
Yeah,
you know?
And then it's like, okay, well, like. And he's like,
then they get to go to the hotel if they're choosing.
But then he's like,
know?
they'd have to do it for a year. And so the acknowledgement would be like, oh yeah, but the virus is so bad that we'd have to do mandatory quarantine for a year. So it's better to just not do that. Do you know?
Yeah, that's it. It's like, you really want to do a good job properly?
And
or
then
you want to do a bad job? Not really at all.
And then he goes, what was it? Yeah, so then he says the detention center bit, and this is where you and I were like talking about it, because I was like
they have to stay at a hotel. It's not really a hotel. It's more like a detention center.
Yeah.
Because there is security there, even though it is a hotel.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're just going to get roasted now. Yeah. When I turn on my podcast, I'm going to roast you for that.
Like, the thing is, like, okay, so Black Lives Matter happened, the protests over the summer in response to George Floyd's death, and Leo Varadkar said about, they said direct provision was racist, or it was like a violation of human rights or something. He's like, it's not really. It's basically like a hotel. It's not that bad, you know?
Yeah.
And then co-living, it's like, co-living is like, it's like living in a swanky hotel, you know?
Yeah.
And then they just continue to build hotels, and then you're just like, I'm not repeating my tweet, which went viral, as for me.
See.
But 1,000, 2,000 likes, not bragging. I suppose we got 3 listens out of it, probably, you know, if any. But
welcome to our new listeners from Garrett's tweet, which he is repeating now for your benefit.
No, I'm not repeating it. No, what I'm saying is, the thing about it is like, is just,
yeah, it's like, come on, Gareth, you can say
shut up. It's like this hotel means Stop. I'm losing the thing that I'm trying to say, and all I can think of is the tweet.
It is like their solution to everything is hotel.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. What an interesting observation. Except this, you say.
Except this.
Yeah.
You know?
But
just like now for my 2,000 likes.
I don't know, but anyway, I was just thinking, he was like, oh, it's not even that bad. It's a hotel, like direct provision. And then it's like, now it's like a bunch of white tourists who are coming, who are going to be staying in a hotel for 2 weeks. So now it is like a prison, you know?
There'll probably be Chinese tourists.
Probably be Italian. There'll be all sorts of people.
But a lot of Chinese come.
Let's just call it affluent tourists, people who can afford
Chinese.
Okay, whatever. Yeah, or whatever. Chinese.
I tell you, one time I was in Foot Locker, and there was like all these Chinese people, and one went up to the counter and was like, to the woman behind the counter, was like, do you speak Chinese? The woman was like, no. Like, why would I speak Chinese? This is so flabbergasted. Like, what? No. As if Irish people don't ask that everywhere. Like,
yeah.
You know, they go for like rural Japan.
Yeah.
You speak English,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
You speak English right here.
Yeah. It's like, there's more of us than there are of you, you know what I mean? So like, if we're coming here and we're asking, do you speak our language? And you go, what a preposterous notion. It's like, well, actually, statistically, you know?
Yeah.
You should be speaking what we speak.
You should speak Chinese.
Yeah. So anyhow, Don't even know if that makes sense population wise, but anyway, sure it might. We don't know. But what was the? Yes, we said that, and Claire Byrne said nothing, and we continued the next day. And yeah, but you were saying anyway that like, because I was like, why did he mention that? Like he's an idiot.
No, you
and
never
he's
said
callous.
the joke. You never said the bit.
I did say the bit.
No, I interrupted you.
What are you talking about?
I was like, they said that the reparation was like a hotel.
Yeah.
And then that the hotel was like a detention center.
Yeah.
So which is it?
Yeah. I said that.
Ah.
But like, it's. I don't, because I thought like, oh, he's saying this to wind me up, or he's like, I called him like like a god king type thing, like a kind of person who just like, I mean, I don't even know if I'm using the word god king correctly, but what I'm saying is like somebody who's now just gotten so used to not being pushed back on anything that he just, everything that comes out of his mouth has to be the truth, and he just pulls out words whenever he needs to and just says them. And then you were like, no, they pay for PR. He probably mentioned detention center because he knew that it would trigger a certain type of debate, you know? So I'm in two minds about it, because I do believe that he could be that stupid and that petty, but I also, I have to wonder, where am I getting played? Have they been doing this long game the whole time of just being stupid?
What do you mean being stupid?
Mentioning detention centers like that when like we have direct provision centers, which are exactly the same thing, except you don't stay in them for nearly as long. I don't know. I found it quite baffling. Anyway, that was Leo's thing, I guess. It was very frustrating. And then Stephen Donnelly also said a very bizarre thing, which is
Stephen had a few bizarre things this week.
Yeah, he really kind of like, like
that big head of his was really spouting out the nonsense, wasn't it?
Yeah, like do you remember, so like, he's kind of just been his usual, for the past while, he's been like usual, even-keeled, kind of like, doesn't really say anything, blah, blah, blah. And then somebody said, you're fucking up the vaccine rollout. And he's like, actually, everybody's going to be vaccinated within the hour. And then walk it back immediately. And it's
within
like
20 minutes, everyone in this country will be vaccinated.
It's like,
I feel like with Stephen Donnelly, he might be one of those people where like he'll go to the doctor at like 60. They'll be like, I'm having headaches, and then I'll open up his head and it'll be like half or a quarter of a brain. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
They'll be like, it's amazing you've lived the life you've led considering you have no brain. No brain. Did you ever read about that guy?
No.
That happened.
Okay.
And they were like, how are you alive? Because you have like a quarter of a brain.
Are you saying it's because he's stupid, or it's because... Yeah.
No, I'm worried for him.
I think his head is shaped weird, and I'm trying to imagine where the brain could be in it,
If you're listening to this, go to the doctor.
Just imagine them open up and there's like a pyramid in there with like, the fucking eye or something,
Yeah. Or imagine if his brain was just upside down or something.
He's got a very pointy head. That's the thing that I find most unpleasant about him. He looks like he's been wearing like a wizard's cap and like just took it off. Yeah. He's got hat, skull.
Imagine hitting that head with a hammer.
I mean, I do all the time. Like, something about like when you have like a round bald head, you're like, oh, there's a bald man. When you have this pointy bald head, you're like, I want to fucking smash that with a hammer. I want to do something to that. This isn't a death threat. This is literally like, there's something so strange about that, and I want to see what will happen when I do something to that, when I fuck it.
Yeah.
So the one thing I was talking about Stephen Donnelly, I'm living with the GP now, or a woman who's training to be a GP anyway, and I was like, listen to this, tell me what you think of this, because she's like, tuned out of politics. She wouldn't really be interested, but I was like, what do you make of this statement?
Yeah, she's a civilian.
No, she's just a normal person who's doesn't decide to rot their brains by reading like awful shit all the time.
Yeah, a civvy. She's not down here in the trench.
Not in the content mines, just getting black lung except into my brain,
Yeah. She's up there breathing the rarefied air at the GP's office.
Let me try and see if I can find that comment though, but he literally said like the reason that they can't do, Okay, let me try and find this. This is annoying now. I should have found
So
this.
he was like, this time, September, we'll have everyone vaccinated. And they were like, did you mean that? He was like, what the hell are you talking about? Who the hell let you in here? Just a doll.
Yeah. There's also the other thing with...
I'd have half a brain just to tell you.
There's also Anthony O'Connor. Do you remember that
Just
thing?
stick to one. Yeah, let's get through one thing.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
No need to apologize. Just don't do it again.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
No, this is the one I was like, make sense of this for me as a GP. Donnelly adds, if you pursued zero COVID and sealed borders until universal vaccination, you couldn't know for sure that another variant wouldn't arrive for which the vaccines are ineffective.
Yeah. Who was it that was like, what were you talking about when you said that we shouldn't do zero COVID because there might be a more viral form of the disease?
Mm-hmm.
And then his response was, I really don't think I said that because that doesn't make any sense. And then they were like, you did, it's written there.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, well, I'll have to check that.
Yeah.
He literally was like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. No, okay. So if you
he's like Trump, but like imagine if when you caught Trump out in a lie, he was like upset. You know what I mean? He's like, did I really say that? You know?
yeah.
Oh, that doesn't sound like me.
So okay, maybe I don't need to explain this to anybody, okay? But the idea is, if you vaccinate and everybody's vaccinated, you prevent more variants from being created. So you're saying like, look, we don't want to do that because the vaccines might not be effective then against a new strain. It was like, well, then we should just stop vaccinating now. Because, like, you know,
yeah,
it's
exactly.
like there could be a new variant tomorrow. It's, you know, it's something. Oh, and also the way that they decided to make the travel restrictions, and they just did it for Brazil and for South Africa. And you're just like, what about our closest neighbor, where you've said since Christmas that the UK variant was the one that was killing? No, that's grand. No mandatory quarantine for them. Do you know?
Ugh.
It's like, this is so strange. It's like you're not even playing by, I don't know, it's like normally if it wasn't costing people's lives it would be like just baffling and funny, but because it's like people will actually die, it's like I don't know why you're doing this. I don't know why you're taking this gamble. I don't know why you feel that you have to be right so badly. And I know that there are business interests, but like, I mean, I still can't get over it's like if somebody was to say it's a choice between, and especially now when you see the GameStop thing, where it's like, it's a choice between something we made up that's meant to be a barometer and regulate finances around the country, around the world, okay? Or it's the loss of an actual person's life. It's like, which is more important than that? It's like, just pay everybody to fucking stay at home and pursue zero COVID and get down to, and it's just like, this week...
Do you think we could do zero COVID?
It's not about doing it, it's about like pursuing it. And then because like not even New Zealand has zero COVID.
But I know, but my question is, do you think we can pursue it?
Oh yeah, I think we have the capability to do it. It's just there's a lack of will and there's a lack.
But isn't a big thing about the North? Isn't that the issue?
Yeah, I mean, there's people who've spoken about why that's not an issue. And one of the things, like, I'm not going to get into it because I don't know that much about it. But one of the as in, you know, there are better people than I to talk about that, and would put it onto our the Tortoise Shack. I've been doing a number of podcasts about that, but one of the ones I wanted to say is like,
I'm not listening to this fucking Tortoise.
Dude, it's amazing.
No, I hate it. They send too many emails, and it's really boring.
Oh my god, how dare you! I won't hear a bad word said about them, but they do send way too many fucking emails. I will say that. But
like, just you, like between the two of us, do you think, like from what you've listened to, does it seem like it can be done?
Yeah, no, I believe it. I mean, like, I can't quote anything to you. I'm just saying, it's like, what are your options? It's like, you just have to act in solidarity with your closest neighbor. And then, you know, the one thing I was mentioning with, like, is a tweet by Naomi O'Leary where she's like, if people are restricted to within 5 kilometers of their house, isn't the point of the border moot anyway, you know? And there's kind of things like that. It's like, they are putting in restrictions.
No, because it's the people come in.
Yeah, but like, what about just give them, like, people who have to cross over for work and stuff like that, they have like permissions and, you know, documentation to show that they need to do that, depending on whether it's essential work or not, you know.
But like, what would you do if it was, say someone from like, you know,
yeah,
Romana of all places,
yeah,
was like, I want to go to the Donegal, you know,
yeah,
to find iced cream, and
yeah, then send them fucking home. Like, you're not allowed to come. That's it.
So you close the border. Like.
Yeah, basically. Like, I really don't see the issue. It's the same thing, like, within the country, we have guards saying, where the fuck are you going? And then they send people home if, like, and they're not doing a good job, obviously, but I'm just saying that, like, the guards are there and they're present. It's like, why does it become this big thing when the border is entered into it? It's like, can you just, like, accept that there's a pandemic and there are people dying and it's not to do with some sort of grand plan to fucking make a united Ireland? It's like, I just think it's really foolish, and it's like, it's just,
yeah, like if they could manage to, you know, close the border peacefully, I suppose I wouldn't see the issue.
I mean, they should be able to, and if they aren't, then that should be the thing that's being investigated. Why can't that happen? It's not like, oh, it's just impossible. It's like, why don't you talk with the people? Why isn't there, like, again, like what happened with, you know, like, it's been happening since the start of the pandemic, and Varadkar's been guilty of it as well, of not consulting Northern Ireland and not being transparent about the policies that are going on. And they, you know, you said it as well, mentioned in Shane Ross's book, that they've been deliberately, you know, vague because they want to take the credit for stuff, and you know, they aren't sharing and trying to squash this thing, and now it's blown up in their face, and so it's the public's fault and it's everybody else's, and it's like everybody just wants to get back. Like when Varadkar said, like, as well on that radio show about, oh yeah, well, you know, it would be a big deal because we wouldn't be able to have Christmas. It's like, motherfucker, like, nobody gives a shit about Christmas now. It's like, oh, we wouldn't be able to go on holiday. It's also like,
if we don't do it, are we getting Christmas anyway?
Yeah, exactly. Like, and then the same with holidays. It's like, can we just fucking not? Can you just get a grip, man? You know, like,
yeah, because they don't. He never makes it clear. He's like, oh, if we do the lockdown thing, you won't get Christmas. And it's like, so are you saying that by doing your thing, we will, because we aren't getting it as it is, you know?
Yeah, but they didn't ask that, obviously, and they wouldn't, you know. But like, one of the other things, like on the zero COVID strategy, one of the podcasts on the echo chamber on Torshak, when they were interviewing this woman, I believe her name is Aoife McSlot, I think I might have that wrong, but
Aoife McSlaw.
McSlot.
This stupid name.
Jesus, man, you're
what
is your deal with the echo chamber exactly?
You think that's a cool name?
What's the name? What is it? Oh, so fucking Moran's so good, is it? Huh?
Moran's a great name.
Whatever.
That's why this is called Moran's podcast.
Welcome to Moran, the Moran Hour. That goes over an hour.
Because for as long as I want.
Yeah. So no, but she was saying anyway. I actually didn't get her name right, but
her name was Coleslaw, I think was her name.
Oh yeah, but Martin McMahon has been kind of following this stuff for a while, and he was talking about New Zealand, and then she kind of made a joke where she's like, because he was saying, oh, they've been more transparent about the virus in New Zealand, and she's like, what, you're saying that they do like Zoom, they do like Skype calls of their cabinet meetings? He's like, yes. You know, like this is the stuff that they've been doing in New Zealand. It's like they say why they're doing something, what the anticipated effect of it is, and then they say when it has happened, you know. Whereas with this, like, like this is the problem with this, is like every single time it's like, this will be 3 more weeks. Okay, yeah, I lied. Actually, we'll be 3 more weeks on top of that. We get 2 weeks. Okay, now we're opening up. Oh, sorry, we got to lock down again. And only these parts. And also we have a tier system, but also the tiers don't mean anything. Do you know?
Yeah, and please don't ask again.
We have. I said this, and my parents thought it. I was saying, you know, back in like October, they were like, the level system is very easy, and I was like, how long is it going to be before it's like, okay, this is level 3, but with elements of level 5? And they were like, no, the levels is where it's staying, and that's it. And then literally like 2 weeks later, they were like, okay, we're going into 3.5. Okay, now 3.5 is a lot similar to 3, but it's way more similar to 5. Okay.
Yeah, and like they were already at that again. Like someone was like, I think it was Radgar again. He was like, we might go into level 4 with some more characteristics of level 5. Yeah. He's like, he's still at it.
Yeah. He loves it though. That's the worst part. I mean, I know I'm saying he's like doing that kind of like, well, I mean, if we did that, then it would have to be. He does that type of thing, like I was saying, the Kamala laugh, or like it was a debate, this type of thing where it's like, oh, you're asking me that seriously, but you just kind of feel like you're like, I just feel like he actually really likes this. He likes the kind of confusion and the influence that he has to just be able to fucking throw something in that makes people just like, it just creates an hour of discontent on Twitter. It's like,
I don't think he likes the confusion. I think he likes the rules. Do you know what I mean? He's just like, there are more rules now to tell people about. Because like their whole thing is about being the party of law and order. So he's just like, now there are more laws, But
also it doesn't mean anything. One thing that we mentioned earlier in the year, do you remember the tax exiles from Ireland, and they can't be in Ireland for more than a certain period of time or something like that, and they lose their tax status, and then they just extended the amount of time that they could stay earlier in the pandemic, because they were trapped here. And it's just that stuff all the time. It's like, but he doesn't like rules because he just breaks them all the time, like depending on whether they suit him or not,
Yeah, that's true.
He has a cruelty. He likes to see other people. He's got a mean streak to him, like, and it's a vicious one as well. It's just like, very cruel individual anyway. And it's like, I don't know, we're stuck with him. Could we actually find ourselves like his Taoiseach again? Do I don't know.
Yeah, 2 years, 1.5 years.
Sorry, I had this Twitter up here, and it was Kamala Harris, a picture of her getting the vaccine, and I was like, I thought she wasn't going to take the Trump vaccine.
Yeah, that was so funny when she was like, would you take, I wouldn't take a vaccine done under Trump. And they're like, we have a vaccine now.
Yeah.
It's like, ended me up.
Yeah.
She's like, put it into my veins.
I trust the science.
Literally. One thing I hate is, I was listening to, it was a Chapo or one of those, and they were like, I hate when people say, I trust the science. Science isn't a thing, as if it's not really clear what Kamala Harris means when she says that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's like, I trust the scientific consensus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when Virgil Texas is like, the scientist, the science says climate change is real.
Yeah.
If I was like, the science says that? Science doesn't have a mouth,
Yeah.
How can science say anything, you idiot?
Well, there is something similar. Do you remember when AOC was saying something about algorithms, and she was like saying algorithms were racist, and Ben Shapiro was like, get a load of her saying algorithms. It's not racist, it's like a set of numbers, you idiot.
Yeah, you piece of shit.
It's the same with science. It's like this thing, when you say you believe in science, like, it actually doesn't mean anything. It's like, I know you can be like, oh, I believe in the scientific consensus, but only around these specific things, and not about climate change, but also not even entirely around the scientific consensus with this, because people are still having to go into work, and we're not going to pay you to stay at home. And this, it's like, I think it's just a shorthand for saying, like, it doesn't mean anything when you say that, because you don't have any intent behind it,
Who's saying that?
I'm saying this to you when you say, I thought you were saying about the science that, like, it's not fair to be like, maybe I have read it wrong, but like, Kamala Harris says, I believe the science, and then somebody goes, science isn't real, and then you were saying, like, well, it is real. And you know what she means,
Yeah. I'm saying you know what she means.
Yeah, but I don't think she. I don't think you know what she means.
The lady knows what she means.
Yeah,
the lady knows what she means.
The lady knows what she means too much.
Yeah.
So go to patreon.com/Celtic Ligers for more of us just shooting the breeze and talking about the politics you love so well.
So let's not do all 18.
Okay.
Let's do 10. What do you think?
I think...
I'll just do 18.
Altogether, not at all. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I think we should just phase this thing out entirely, because when you're at 18 and you just are doing 10 of them, then it's just like, well, this is stupid.
Yeah, you choose a random 10 every time.
Yeah, I don't even know how you do that, is the thing.
Yeah, let's just do 18.
And let's just do it really, really quickly. Literally the first one that comes to mind, okay?
No. No.
This one's about cars. This is the theme for this.
Oh, nice.
Okay. First one, Spark Plug Maloney, Mark Maloney.
No, you can't
Thank
jump
you.
in. You can't do it ahead of me.
Shit.
Read out his name again, and then we'll come up with Spark Plug Maloney.
Thank you to Mark Maloney.
What about Spark Plug Maloney?
That's pretty good. Oh, we're already away to the races.
Yeah.
Next up is Blahin de Burka.
What
Blahin de
about-
Parka.
No.
Okay.
What about starting
The car.
the car?
Yeah.
Starting the car.
Ka.
No.
Thank you, Blahin de Burka,
Thank you,
aka
Blahin.
starting the car.
Starting the car.
Thank you, Alan Carroll, and that's already got a car in it, so no work there.
What about Alan Key? Car.
Yeah, Key your Carroll. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next up is Rob Gale. Rob your car, Gale. Okay, Gale robbed your car. What a
Yeah,
bitch.
like a Gale, like an Irish Gale.
Yeah, Fine Gael robbed your car. He would not thank us for comparing his name to Fine Gael, I imagine. So let's not
I
do
can't
that.
believe we haven't done Fine Gael more often.
Thank
Nice
you to,
one.
to Stephen
Thanks, Fine
Bradley.
Gael.
No, that's not. I'm sorry I said that, Rob. I really am.
Yeah.
So
What about
no, we've
The-
done Rob Gale, so we're on Stephen Bradley.
yeah, I know. What about
Okay.
Beaver?
Beaver, Pedley,
What's the second name?
Bradley, Pedley.
Beardley.
Huh?
What about
Pedley.
it?
Just accept it so we can move on.
No, we have to do this right. Do it right or not at all.
Okay, fine.
We're doing it. What about Weaving Seatley? Like the seats are woven.
Woven Seatley.
Weaving Seatley.
Weaving Seatley. Next up is Alison Spittle. Alison,
Spittoon. Like,
no,
there's a
we do
spittoon
that a
in the car.
lot, and we can't do any more spit ones. They're too lazy. Alison Throttle. Like you pull the throttle. It's got TTLE.
Which one is that for? Alison or Spittle? Because it sounds like neither.
What are you talking about? Alison Throttle.
Okay, so it's not Throttle Spittle.
No, it's just I've removed the spit part and replaced it with trot.
Okay, what about... What is the throttle?
I don't know. It's like you. It's just for speed.
What about grapple this throttle?
There you go. You. Next up is Richard Zimmerman, and that'll be fucking
Racing car Zimmer.
Richard Zipper Man, because he's
Car.
zipping around the place. Cool.
What about Richard Smart Car?
Yep, that works way better actually, because it incorporates no part of his name.
Well, he's smart.
Yeah, he's a smart man. I give him that.
And his name's Richard.
Bridget Purcell, and that'll be
Squidward's car.
Squidward's car. Milky Fox. That'll be. Oh, I got this one. Milky Vauxhall Astra.
That's actually really good.
Yeah, that turned out okay. Actually, thanks very much. I really appreciate that. Kyle O'Neill. That'll be Neil.
Little
On the,
Kylo.
you know the way you kneel on the pedals.
Yeah. Kneel on that pedal, but
I
not
don't-
60.
I
Not
don't
60
use,
if you
like-
kneel on the pedal.
I know we use kneel quite a lot, but I find that very funny. The idea of somebody like thinking you have to
Kneeling.
kneel on the pedals to
Yeah,
drive
when
the
they're,
car.
when they're in a rush. We're like, come on, just kneeling on it.
I just imagine a Fast and the Furious like Paul Walker type thing. It's like let's drive, just kneeling on the pedal.
I can't
The
see out of the
nitro
wheel.
just. It's
Yeah.
like, Connor Barry, Carner Curry.
That's
Okay.
class.
Yeah.
That's actually class.
Pretty good. Liam McCartan. That'll be Liam Mavanton. Okay. Oh, I've got a really good one for the next one. I think you might not like it, but I'm very proud of it, okay?
We'll see. We'll see.
Claire O'Neilan, Car
Yeah.
O'Poolon.
What's the pool? Oh, yeah, carpool.
Carpool.
That's a
pretty
good
good.
one.
That's pretty good. Niall McGillicool, Niall McGillifuel.
What about Niall McPhill with fuel?
McPhill with fuel, yes. Ronan Carey, more like Ronan Scary. No, Ronan Carey.
What about Ronan? What about groaning car?
Yeah, they're just the car's just groaning. Man.
Oh, it groans when it goes up a hill.
Under the weight of fucking
the fat guy. You know?
The scariest fat guy you've ever seen.
He's a murderer.
A groaning car, like when it's carrying a murderer. That's really scary.
Yeah.
Niamh Kelly, can't do Niamh, give it some welly. I have to say, okay, here's one. Here's a reach. Here's a Cockney one. Okay, it's Niamh welly, but it's actually Niamh boot, because a boot is a welly, and then a boot is also in a car. You know.
What does that have to do with Cockney?
It's because if you go like, oh, it's like the Niamh boot, and you do you know what I'm saying?
They're supposed to rhyme. It's called rhyming slang.
Shit.
Not just two things that are similar conceptually.
It doesn't actually have to rhyme, because I don't think it does.
It does. It definitely.
No, because I know one is like, are you having a bubble? And now I'm about to fuck this up, because I'm about to reveal that you're in fact right, because it's because are you having a bubble bath, aka laugh?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Fuck. But he says bubble, so really I'm kind of right. So that's Niamh boot.
Niamh bubble. Okay, next one.
Paulie Doyle, that'll be Paulie spoiler, like you have in your car. Fuck, have we done cars before?
Have we?
As soon as I said spoiler, I was like, shit, we might have done cars before.
Yeah, we probably have. Next one.
Joe Joyce is the final one, and for this one we gotta go really fast.
What about Reader's Choice?
And really furious. What do you mean?
Reader's Choice.
Keep using choice, so that's not allowed anymore.
What about?
How about hefty invoice, because you paid for your car? Oh, I wish I hadn't gone to that mechanic. He really gouged me.
No.
That was pretty bad.
I don't want to imply that he's stupid, you know?
Why would I do that? But also, like, I feel like sometimes if you give more of a backstory to the name, even if it's not good, it's like, okay, that's a little something for you. No, you're saying he's stupid.
You're saying he's like too stupid to know what things cost, and he can't count or something.
Okay. Oh wait. And now I know for certain that we've done cars before, because I just remembered what we did for Joe Joyce in the previous one. Joe Joyce. What about Rolls Royce?
Yeah. What about Shrewd Choice?
Why do you keep using choice? What is your fascination with that?
Yeah, because it rhymes.
Okay.
What about this?
I can't believe we did cars before.
What about Shrewd? No, choice. Shrewd Choice.
Okay, fine. You did it. You did. Congratulations. We did it.
We gotta go with Shrewd Choice on this one, you know?
I'm sorry, Joe, but our options were limited, so we went with the worst one.
No, it shows that he's shrewd. Your one was like stupid guy and like ripped off idiot, you know?
Yeah, that's not what I said. That's not what happened at all. At all. Yeah.
And mine was like smart dude, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah, it's better than yours, which was stupid man.
Okay, so thank you for listening to Celtic Ligers, and in particular Joe Joyce, aka Rolls Royce. Rolls Choice.
Go to shrewdchoice.com for more.
Yeah, of the thing you like.
For more laughs and giggles.
Yeah, for more like just being fucking, for a sideways glance at the news and current affairs of Ireland.
Yeah, that's it. You drive up to the news, you look out at the car sideways.
You're like, oh, that's interesting and also funny,
Rev your engine.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should, talk about how many giggles you get from listening to this.
Yeah.
What are the giggles per minute?
Did I tell you one time I was like, before all the awful things that happened at the Roisin Dove, I was going to do comedy there, and then I got an email from the man who ran the night. People know from Pyro Jads and whatnot.
Who?
And yeah, I suppose I've already named him, Stephen Bennett. But he was like, he's like
Stephen Bonnet.
the three things that you. He doesn't get it. He doesn't get a thank you. He's not our patron. He's not even a very nice man. You know.
Okay.
Well, he's a nice man. He's just has no moral.
How do you
core.
think he's nice?
No, I mean like he
Oh, you
might
think
be
he's
pleasant to be
shrewd?
around.
You think he's shrewd?
Anyway, he sent me an email, and it was like, okay, before you come up, it was like, the thing of the rules of like, don't go over your time, do this type of thing. He was just really rattling it off, but it was kind of like more abrasive than anybody who I'd ever done comedy with before. And it's like, you're not paying me, man. You know that, right? Like,
Yeah.
And then one of the things he wrote, like he said was, we want at least 2 laughs per minute. Okay, so put the clock on, count how many laughs, make sure you have them, and if you're lucky, we might have you back again if you're
Wow.
good. Do
How many laughs did you get?
I mean, the way my comedy works, I either get one big laugh at the end or I get none at all. And
Yeah.
I think it
The
was
way my
probably
comedy
the latter.
works, I'm the one laughing.
uh,
Do we have a website?
yeah,
Do
CelticLigers.com.
we have a forum?
No, we don't.
Sometimes I just say these things to see if you'll set one up.
Why would we have a forum? What would be the purpose of that?
I don't know. Why do we have a website?
We should have a Discord though. Maybe that
Yes,
would encourage
and we have a-
discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can post pictures of ourselves every day, and then they can rate them from hot to not.
Yeah. Except we'll only have the option for hot. It will not have the option for not.
No, it's the option for sexual.
Yeah,
sexual pleasure.
So is this hot or not? Sexual pleasure. Oh my lord. Kyle O'Neill,
Yeah. They all keep saying
Yeah.
sexual pleasure.
Yeah. I don't know why so many Simpsons quotes are coming to mind today. Like they always come to mind, but not as hot and heavy as they're coming today. But that's not what you say, isn't it? It's thick and fast. You don't say hot and heavy.
Yeah. Wet and heavy.
They're coming with like, the one. They love the guy. They love Itchy. They love Scratchy. One kid seems to love the Speedo man.
Yeah. Yeah. Who here wants to see Itch and Scratchy doing real world
Yeah.
mundane problems? And who you want to see a madcap space adventure with robots and aliens?
Yeah.
So you want a madcap mundane
In a mad
cartoon that's out of this world yet completely down earth.
completely
Yeah.
grounded in reality.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what I want.
And that's a show you can find at www.thesimpsons.com.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. What do you prefer, and answer honestly?
Uh-huh.
The Simpsons or Borta Shack? Borta Shack.
The Simpsons.
Yeah, he said he prefers Simpsons season 34. The bad one.
You didn't say that. That was a real
No.
trick you just played on me.
That was implied,
What
You
would you
should have
like, the
implied
worst
there was a-
season of The Simpsons or the best season of The Sopranos?
Yeah.
It's a great
Would you rather
hypothetical.
marry Peter Griffin or Homer Simpson?
Oh my god, are you really asking me that?
Yeah.
Who would you marry?
Uh,
Probably Homer, he's a little sweeter.
like Peter hits his wife.
Yeah, like, and he's an irredeemable asshole.
And he's fatter,
Do you know what I always found funny? One time is that Matt Groening was talking about going to some like
Private island.
he was going to some like very remote village, like that kind of society hadn't even really touched. Apparently, he claims, and then they started talking about The Simpsons. And he said that they like The Simpsons because of the. I think he said at some point like the fart humor or something like that. And I was like, I don't think I've ever seen, unless it's happened in recent seasons, I don't think I've ever seen a fart joke in The Simpsons.
Maybe the film was a fart joke.
Yeah, but like there's fart jokes all the time in Family Guy. That's like the main thing. Do you
Maybe
know?
they're just thinking of the Family Guy.
Yeah, he was like, I showed them some episodes of The Simpsons. Oh no, wait, it was Family Guy. I got my own show mixed up. You know.
Uh,
Yeah.